Sergeant Johnson here with the Umatilla County Sheriff's Office in Pendleton, Oregon, bringing you another online training presentation for Eastern Oregon search and rescue personnel. In addition to the coordinate systems that are commonly used for SAR operations, searchers may also encounter another mapping location system called the Public Land Survey System, sometimes called the Legal Description System. This system dates back to shortly after the Revolutionary War and is still used today in many states, including Oregon, to identify real estate. It is often used by land management agencies such as the U.S. Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management when locating fires and other incidents. So when working on Forest Service or BLM lands, it can be important to understand this system. The starting point for this system is a series of 37 initial points that consist of a meridian running north and south and a baseline that runs east and west, scattered across the United States. If this sounds a lot like latitude and longitude to you, you are correct. In Oregon, this point was arbitrarily located in 1851 on a ridge in the Tualatin Mountains. It is called the Willamette Meridian Initial Point, or more commonly, the Willamette Meridian. Today, you can find this point at Willamette Stone State Park in Portland's West Hills. This was the initial point used for the surveys in both Oregon and Washington. The Public Land Survey System is based upon rectangles located from the initial point. Township lines run parallel to the baseline at 6-mile intervals, both north and south of the baseline. Range lines run parallel to the initial point meridian, also at 6-mile intervals, both east and west of the meridian. These intersecting lines create squares called townships. Each township is 6 miles by 6 miles. Townships are located by how far north or south they are from the initial point's baseline and how far east and west they are from the initial point's meridian. So the first township north of the initial point would have a township value of 1 north, and the first township lying to the east of the initial point would have a range value of 1 east. So township values always increase as you go north and south of the initial point, and range values always increase as you go east and west of the initial point. This nomenclature can be a little confusing since the word township actually has 2 meanings. A township is that 6 by 6 mile rectangle we were just talking about. The township value, however, refers to the number of 6-mile intervals north or south of the baseline you are. So, for example, there are many townships with a township value of 1 north that lie east and west of the meridian, as depicted by the blue shading. And many townships with a range value of 1 east that run north and south of the baseline, as depicted by the yellow shading. In order to specify one specific township, both the township value and the range value must be given. Each township is located by these 2 values. That is, how far north or south of the baseline it lies, and how far east or west of the meridian it lies. By convention, the township value is given first, then the range value. For example, the Burnt Orange Township, illustrated on the slide, would be described as Township 2 South, Range 3 West. It is the second township that lies to the south of the baseline, and it is the third township that lies to the west. Township and range are often abbreviated as T and R. Each of the townships is subdivided into squares 1 mile by 1 mile, called sections. Since a township is 6 miles by 6 miles, there are normally 36 sections in a township. By convention, they are numbered from the northeast corner of the township as depicted in the slide. It is important to note that searchers may encounter some occasional discrepancies in these conventions and find sections that are less than 1 mile in dimension and townships that do not contain a full 36 sections. This is often caused by the distortions encountered when trying to impose a flat mapping system onto a spheroid object like the Earth. Surveyors often have to compensate by altering some lines. These distortions can also happen at the boundaries of survey zones, such as between Oregon and Idaho, since two systems meet at the state lines. In Idaho, the Boise meridian is used for locations, not the Willamette meridian. These distortions can also cause township range and section lines to deviate from true north-south or east-west. Searchers should be aware of this fact when using lines for compass navigation. Sections are located by the townships in which they lie. So as depicted in this slide, the section highlighted in yellow would be Section 21, lying within Township 3 North and Range 5 East. To further refine locations, each section is divided into quarter sections. Each quarter is defined by its location within the section by its intercardinal direction, that is, northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. So the starred quarter section depicted in this slide would be the southwest quarter of Section 13. Each quarter section can again be subdivided into 4 quarter sections. The quarter section with the yellow star would be described as the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of the section. Sometimes you might hear the word quarter left out and the location given as the southwest of the northeast of the section. Quarter sections are usually the format that public land agencies use to give a location. This is because the system is often used for fire location, and a quarter location is usually a refined enough location to find smoke. However, for SAR purposes, this location comes with a bit of imprecision. A quarter section is 40 acres, which is a little over 400 meters square. So this represents a rather large area for ground search operations, and is why for SAR this system is not often used. You might see the system used with other means of identifying rectangles, such as the east half or quarter. This is most often encountered when looking at cadastral surveys used for surveying real estate. Most often, if searchers work with this system, it will be using the quarter format. Locations in the public land survey system are given with the smallest rectangle first, then proceeding up to the township and range. So the starred location in this slide would be given as the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 13, Township 2 South, Range 2 West. Or in a more compressed version, the southeast of the northeast, Section 13, 2 South, 2 West. When hiking in the woods or conducting ground search operations, searchers may encounter a bearing tree or survey monument. Searchers familiar with the public land survey system can readily locate themselves on their Forest Service or BLM maps using these devices. A bearing tree will give a bearing and distance to a particular corner described on the sign. Survey monuments will normally be found at section corners. When using a public land management agency map, searchers will find the township and range numbers on the margins along with some format of latitude and longitude. Sections will be depicted with black or red lines depending on the map. The section number will be depicted with the same color as the section lines in the center of the section. For USGS quad maps, section lines and numbers are normally red. The map on this page depicts Section 14 of Township 3 North and Range 35 East. If using this system to locate Stanfield Meadow, we see that the meadow lies in Section 30. From the margins of our map, we note that the township is 1 south, while the range is 37 east. So our location so far is Section 30, Township 1 south, range 37 east. Next, we divide our section into quarters. We see that the meadow lies in the northeast quarter of Section 30, Township 1 south, range 37 east. Finally, we subdivide the northeast quarter of Section 30 into 4 additional quarters. Now we see that Stanfield Meadows lies within the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 30, Township 1 south, range 37 east. You might hear this given as the southwest of the northeast of Section 30, 1 south, 37 east, by those who use this system a lot. This concludes our presentation on the Public Land Survey System for SAR. For more information, you can contact a local surveyor or personnel from your local land management agency. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of your local search and rescue program.